Welcome back to the deep dive. We're jumping straight into a really interesting query from a listener about these anti-haze electrostatic screens. You've probably seen them advertised, promising, huge PM 2.5 removal rates backed by these official-looking certifications, things from Jiaotong University or SGS.
And that's really our mission today. This is a classic case where we need to put on our critical thinking hats, because when you're looking at claims about health, about technology, and they throw around this specialized data that's hard to understand, you have to ask the right questions.
Right. Is it genuinely proven science, or is it more like commercial marketing dressed up as science?
Exactly.
Okay, so let's unpack this. I see two big areas we need to dig into to get to the bottom of this. First, what are these third-party certifications actually worth? And second, what does the actual peer-reviewed science say about the technology itself?
Let's start with the certifications, because that's where a lot of the confusion comes from.
Yeah.
From an academic standpoint, you have to be skeptical. What we find time and again is that certification is often a commercial transaction. A company pays a lab to verify a specific claim.
So it's not like a completely independent public seal of approval.
Not always.
Yeah.
And when profit is part of the equation, it's just very hard to have 100% public trust.
That makes sense. It reminds me of that FDA article, the one titled, "Is it really FDA approved?"
Yeah.
They specifically point out that tons of health products, like supplements, for example, don't need any kind of pre-market approval at all.
Exactly. So any claim of FDA certification for a supplement is it's misleading. And this isn't just a U.S. issue. We see the same kind of public trust questions around international marks, like the SNQ symbol or the little green man logo.
It really hammers home that a stamp of approval means almost nothing unless you know exactly who is doing the stamping and what they're stamping for. Okay, so if the certification world is a bit murky, let's pivot. Let's talk about the hard science. What are these screens actually made of? How do they pull those tiny PM 2.5 particles out of the air?
So the core of it is a technology called nanofiber netting. But it's not just a superfine sieve. The really clever part is something called electrostatic adsorption.
Oh, like static cling.
That's the perfect analogy. Think of rubbing a balloon on your hair. These nanofibers generate a static charge, so the tiny particles literally just stick to the screen as the air passes through. It's an active attraction, not just a passive block.
And based on the research, how well does it work?
Well, this is where it gets impressive. We looked at 6 different scientific papers, all from China, published between 2016 and 2019. The lab results are, frankly, they're stellar.
Okay.
We're talking PM 2.5 removal efficiencies hitting 99.5%, even 99.65% in some tests.
Wow. And what about in a real-world scenario?
In one of the most interesting tests, they put the material under extreme Beijing haze conditions. We're talking over 700 micrograms per cubic meter. And even after 12 hours, the efficiency was still over 90%. Plus, you could still see through them. Optical transparency was around 83%. So scientifically, the tech is brilliant at filtering.
Okay, but there has to be a catch, a trade-off.
And there is. It's a big one. One study that looked at them in actual homes found that while, yes, indoor PM 2.5 dropped by about 65 to 67%, the air exchange rate in those homes plummeted.
What does that mean exactly, air exchange rate?
It's how often the entire volume of air in a room gets replaced with fresh air from outside. The rates in the study were about 0.23 to 0.3 euro changes per hour.
And that's low.
That is incredibly low. Most national standards would recommend something closer to 0.5 or even higher. An exchange rate of 0.23 means the air is almost completely stagnant. So you're filtering the air, yes, but you're also potentially trapping other pollutants inside by blocking ventilation.
So that brings us right back to the listener's original question about the screens they saw advertised. The major disconnect we found is this. All the really strong peer-reviewed science on this nanofiber electrostatic tech comes from Chinese research institutions. Yet the brands you see on the market, the ones advertised as being from, say, the UK or Germany or Taiwan, our sources show no published scientific research from them.
So here's the bottom line for you. The core technology, this nanofiber electrostatic capture, appears to be highly effective at removing PM 2.5. The science is solid. But as a consumer, you have to look past the brand marketing and the commercial certifications. You have to weigh that proven filtration against a very real potential trade-off in fresh air ventilation.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to chew on. If this incredibly effective peer-reviewed scientific evidence exists, why are brand marketers relying on generic commercial certifications instead of just citing that primary research? It really raises that crucial question of evaluating the source of the data versus the marketing origin of the brand.